was not on his side of the racetrack.
Yep.
If that would have been one of the older style single file restarts, that would be considered blocking, but he chose the left-hand side of the racetrack. That was totally his. He can drive over there. He chose it. He has a right to it.
I agree.
This race has been won from the front row 16 times, 8 from the pole and 8 from second position. Right now, first and second are Will Power and Ryan Hunter-Reay.
We did see Graham Rahal was peeking a look down into turn number 9. That's the first start of moves that we start to see of people coming up through the field.
Yeah, they're just starting to get some temperature, not only in their tires, but also their brakes. I think everybody was just kind of tiptoeing around here for the first couple laps. You see Hunter-Reay making some ground here on Will Power right now.
Closing in quickly on the rear wing of the Verizon car. Paul Tracy gained a position on the start. So did J.R. Hildebrand, Sebastian Bourdais, Sebastian Saavedra, and Graham Rahal.
Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay said he needs to figure out what kind of cereal Will Power is eating because he wants to start having it for breakfast as well. They came in with a little bit of a different car this year than last year. Remember, he started second and then won. They've developed it. He said it's working for him. Obviously, starting second it is. He's also happy for Mike Conway, his teammate, who started third. Marty?
Right in front of him, Will Power, and I'm sure he's not going to give away the cereal that he eats every morning, Lindy, because he doesn't want to give away his secrets. This is the same exact car and engine he has used for every race this year. It's not scheduled to be overhauled, the engine that is, until after Brazil. Earlier this week, they had some cooling problems on this engine. They changed the ductwork on this car to make it a little bit better. Since then, no problems, but they would love for it to stay a little bit on the cooler side today.
Coming down to complete lap number 4 of 85 as we jump on board with Tony Kanaan, who's running in 10th position. Remember, last weekend at Barber Motorsports Park, he gained 10 spots on the first lap, starting from the rear of the field, had a much better starting spot today.
And this shot gives you a good idea how rough this place is. Certainly, you know, coming up to a lot of the corners. Right there, how rough it is.
And he's getting some heat from behind from James Hinchcliffe. You say, well, hang on a minute, that's not Hinchcliffe's colors. That's because he is driving the spare car for Oriol Servia after having a fire with that car on Friday.
Pound the curbs here, too.
160 on this straightaway, down to second gear, turn 9.
James Hinchcliffe was pretty happy with the car this morning. He said he didn't think they would make any changes from what they sent into the morning warm-up. He said, though, it was a little bit difficult to tell exactly what they had because it was so cool this morning. Today is a little closer to the conditions that we've had throughout the weekend, but still cooler than we saw on Friday and Saturday.
In 6 tries here at Long Beach, Tony Kanaan's best finish was 3rd in 2009. The leader of the race is Will Power. Once again, Ryan Hunter-Reay earning in 2nd spot.
"100 years of racing. To appreciate what that means, you need to start back in 1911, the inaugural Indianapolis 500-mile race. Ray Haroon won that year. And as he crossed the finish line that day on his Firestone tires, he surely had no idea what he was starting. A legacy of guts, grit, and determination on big tracks and small, famous tracks, and those not so famous. We raced, and we raced to win. Anywhere, any place, anytime. And over the years, as the cars got faster, and the crowds grew bigger, a century passed. A century of building on the things we learned, of helping great men and women do great things. And still, it goes on. Because you see, just like old Ray would tell you, or Mario, or Al, Sam, or Elio, once you get that checkered flag fever, you can't shake it. You can only feed it. So what does it all mean? Looking back, it's pretty clear. Even after a century, there really is no finish line. Firestone, celebrating 100 years of racing.
There's a reason why. In 5 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
Last year, the Sao Paulo Indy 300 was the first race of the series, and we had a calamity at the start of the event. This year, it is the fourth race on the schedule, but Versus will be there live Sunday, May 21st at noon Eastern. The IZOD IndyCar Series continuing May 1st from the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Down to Marty Snyder.
Well, guys, back in the field, Ryan Briscoe started 12th, and you saw Anna Pitt right there. Now she's coming back out on the track right now. Briscoe started 12th. He is still running 12th. And if you'll notice, he is running the primary tires. Everybody in front of him are running the red tires, the softer red tires. That's very much on purpose for Ryan Briscoe. The reason because of that is they want to do the opposite of what everybody else does. They want to gain track position in their second stint. So the theory is put the blacks on first and then hold everybody off. Then in the second stint, when everybody else puts on the primary tire, you'll have on red tires. That's when Ryan Briscoe plans to do his passing. So right now, they're very happy to still be running 12th on these primary tires.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Marty. And he's running about 2 seconds slower than the leader. But you know what? That may work out for him. Watch some of the telemetry here. Full throttle up the straightaway. See the mile per hour on the left. Hard braking coming up here. This is a second gear corner to your left. Get through the gears really, really quick. And you can see how busy this place is. And don't forget, he's on the harder tire, so he's probably working a little bit harder than everybody else because he's got a little bit less grip than the guys that are on the reds.
And you saw around the fountain that he went down to first gear. There's two places you use first gear, the fountain and then, of course, the hairpin, down to 28 miles an hour. Now, the interesting thing, if you do go with the Firestone Blacks, there is a pretty big spread between the speed of the two of them. Firestone is trying to get a bigger spread this year to try and shake up the competition. So if he's not getting blown by people right now and he's on the Firestone Blacks, this strategy may work well.
Ryan Briscoe in 12th position. Up ahead of him is James Hinchcliffe. The movers at this stage of the race, Sebastian Bourdais has picked up 2 spots to 19th, and also J.R. Hildebrand has gained 2. Back up front, the first 3 went pretty close together, and Mike Conway staying right with Hunter-Reay and Power.
They really are. I mean, Ryan Hunter-Reay is not letting Will Power get out of his sights.
One of the reasons why he wants to push Will Power is that Will Power has been the master of the single lap. But Will has been having a little bit of trouble with rear grip when he gets on the power, especially coming off the hairpin. What a great vantage point to see how you have the city streets, how you're going past the hotel on the right-hand side, the convention center, then changing streets. That's why it's bumpy. You're going from side streets to larger streets, concrete, underneath parking garages. It is an awesome place. It just gives you such a sense of speed because you have so many things just whizzing by you through these tight canyons.
That was turn 9. This is turn 10. And now the hairpin right-hander, turn number 11. 10 laps completed. This is the 13th consecutive road course race that Will Power has led.
And so what Ryan Hunter-Reay, and they're giving him the intervals on the radio, if he can keep some pressure on Power from that overhead shot coming off of the hairpin, you got a great example. It's like a drag strip. And Will Power has to be very careful with the throttle and just ease off there and not light up the rear tires. If you have somebody right on you, you can't do that. You got to go for it.
And Jan, for the second week in a row, Will Power has John Erickson making the calls for him. Clive Howell will be back at Brazil in a couple of weeks. Well, Will has asked John to tell him, let me know when Ryan Hunter-Reay is using his overtake button. Ryan Hunter-Reay has used 2 of those. Will Power only 1, and that was on the start of the race.
There's John Erickson. Mike Conway running back in 3rd position. This is Mike's 3rd race here at the Long Beach Grand Prix. He finished 21st 2 years ago and 10th last year. And this guy has been involved in incidents early on in the race several times, and you just really wonder when he's going to put together a race in which he finishes up front. This could very well